recently, Tommy Thompson has kind of come out talking about the need to do increased investments in rehabilitation instead of just, things like truth in sentencing, more punitive measures. Can you talk about, one, what your experience was with, like that when you were when you were secretary, but also just kind of your own personal thoughts on the issue?
Tommy Thompson, I found to be an exceptional man to deal with. I had occasion to talk with Tommy Thompson many times when I was corrections secretary, and in particular we had a subject matter between the two of us that we felt very strongly on, and that was corrections reforms. I had discussed with Tommy my intention to take Lincoln Hills and convert it into a technical college for inmates that were within a year release, to get them certain certifications and job skills to make them successful. Tommy was a firm believer in it. We had talked about reopening Ethan Allen to move the Milwaukee kids closer to home. I had even asked my budget people to give me a rough estimate on what it would cost to put it back in operation, and they said about $5 million. The reason it fell into disrepair with mold and all was because at the time that they shut Ethan Allen down under Scott Walker, nobody bothered to drain the plumbing or anything else. So as the pipes froze and water damage happened, there was mold in some of the buildings that they didn't remediate. So their mold is still there. So once the mold is remediated, the facility itself was in excellent condition. It could be reused. Tommy Thompson discussed with me his feelings on corrections reform, and he said to me privately, doing what I did with truth in sentencing and opening the Supermax was probably the worst thing I could have done for corrections. And he felt very bad about it. I had tried to discuss my plans for corrections reform with the governor's office many times, and I was turned away. And as a matter of fact, at one of them, the chief of staff, Rich Zipper, said to me, "You do realize that this is the governor that wrote the truth in sentencing laws?" And I said, "Yes, I'm aware of that." He said, "Don't expect it to change." And that's what happened. Tommy Thompson was so concerned about corrections reform, and he was getting the same response from the governor's office, that he called a private meeting that I was invited to, along with Representative John Nygren, Representative Amy Loudenbeck, Representative Rob Hutchins, the Governor Thompson, and Dean Stensberg. And the topic of that discussion was corrections reforms and putting together legislation that would put that before the governor. That was a concerning issue to me, in that why would a former governor have to pull together legislators to trying to get this done behind a curtain, when in fact these are issues that the governor should have attended to. I had talked with Grover Norquist, a neoconservative who came to Wisconsin to talk about corrections reforms. And privately he told me, you need to get your governor's head around the fact that you cannot keep building prisons. This is unsustainable, and this is not a conservative issue, it's not a liberal issue, this is a social issue we have to deal with. And if Grover Norquist can get his arms around it, I couldn't understand why Scott Walker wouldn't. What it really came down to was being stubborn.